review for the test 2. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And for the test 2, it will cover for chapter 9, 10, 12, and 13. And still just like the the test 1. So we will have the true or false questions, multiple choices, problems. And for the problems, we will have 3. We will have 3 for the chapter 10 and 6 for the chapter 13. And those 3 for chapter 10, actually they talks about the waiting line problems. So it may ask you like what's the average number in the waiting time is, or what the average number in the system is, or what's the average waiting time in the line or the system. And for the problems, for the chapter 13, I will have 2 for R charts, 2 for X bar charts, and 2 for P chart. Okay, so this is an overview for the test 2. And for chapter 9, so you don't need to go over all the textbook contents. I highly recommend all of you to review the slides first. And all of the test questions come for the slides. So if you didn't find them for the slide, it means it will not in the test. So you don't need to go over all the contents in the textbook, only the slides. And according to the topic, I just emphasize all of them. So all of the topic I show in these slides, you may find 1 or several questions for them. And the first types of questions you may meet for the chapter 9 is about the nature of service, and it's in the slide 3. And also the service triangle. So do you still remember the triangle over there? So we have the customer in the corner, and we have 3 things we also need to focus on, which is on the slide 4. And the most important thing here, most of the problems of chapter 2, they come from the service design. So the first thing you need to review is about the classification, how we classify the service. So we consider several factors like the customer contacts and others. And also the characteristics of service, which is on the slide 7. And another thing you need to take a look at is the difference compared with the products, which means the manufacturing goods, the physical goods, which is on the slide 8. And this is another thing you need to spend time on it. This is the matrix of the service design. And we have different the types of the service, according to the different customer contacts. When you want to design your service, what kind of things you need to think about. And also the variability, which for the slide 15 until the slide 17. And your case, which is kind of methods we apply. And I have 2 questions about 3 contrasting, and 1 question about what is the well-designed service system. When I mention, okay, I have 1 question over there, it doesn't mean that you will meet that question exactly. It means those questions in the testing bag. So you may meet it or not meet it. Don't meet it, but it's just I have those questions. So this is all of the things for chapter 9. Other things I didn't mention, it means it will not in the test. Okay, any questions by now? You good? Because I cannot see your face and I didn't receive any feedback. So if you feel good, just give me a sum.
No questions yet.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's move to the chapter 10. So the chapter 10, I will have three calculation problems. And all of them comes for the waiting line models. And I will introduce that in the last. And the first thing you need to review is about the queen management suggestion, which is on the slide 4, and the major components of the queening system, which is on the slide 5. And the most important things is the queen system. So you need to figure out several questions. Those questions you may need to you may find the true or false questions or the multiple choices problem. So you need to figure out what does mean the finite and infinite population. What does mean exponential distribution or Poisson distribution? And the arrival, the priority, like how we decide, like it's a first come, first serve or others. So this decides like how we calculate like the possibilities or the waiting time to like measure our service in terms of our waiting. So all of the things are the stuff are the contents you need to review for the true or false and the question and the multiple choices problems. And for the waiting line model, here are the things. First thing you need to figure out, okay, we have 4 different models. And the thing I want to emphasize is just like your homework for chapter 10, model 1 is the only model you need to review. So you don't need to remember the formula, how to calculate the second model or the third model or the fourth model. The only thing you need to review is about like how to calculate all the average numbers in the system, in the waiting line, all of the things like for the model 1. So the model 1 is single channel, single service phase, infinite, person, and exponential service pattern, and unlimited. So here is the thing. And the example in your textbook, which is example 10.1, exactly the examples you need to review. If you figure out example 10.1, you will be fine with all the calculation problems for the chapter 10 in test 2. Okay, and I will give you a brief introduction about how to calculate example 10.1 later. But before that, I just like to help you to go over all of the factors or the formula you may use for the chapter 10. So this is lambda, this is mu, this is the first, second factors you may meet or you may use later. And this one, L co, LS, double co, WS, this is another 4 things you need to figure out how to calculate. So L co means the average number waiting in line, while LS means the average number in the system. Double co means the average waiting time in line, and WS means the average total time in system. So this is all of the things you need to figure out. And another thing is probably you need to understand the probability of exactly a unit in system or the utilization, which is this one. So now let's take a look. This is about how to calculate them. So this is about model 1. This is all of the things you need to review. You don't need to spend time for the model 2, model 3, model 4. No. So for the test 2, model 1 is the only calculation problems I will involve in it, just like your homework. So you need to go over in the textbook about how to calculate the L code, LS, W code, and WS. And let's take a look at these examples. So example 10.1. We know that arrival rate is 15 per hour, which is our lambda. And we know the service rate of 1 is every 3 minutes. So this is our meal. And the first question asks you to calculate the utilization of the tainer. And the second question about the average number in line, while question 3 asks you average number in system. And question 4, average waiting time in line. And question 5, average waiting time in system. This is all of the things we need to go over, okay? So for the utilization, it's only, okay, so just give me a second because it doesn't show all of the contents. Let me change it. Yes, okay, we got it. So for the average utilization, this is how we calculate it. So it equals to lambda 2 mu. So we know, okay, okay, it's, okay, just give me a second. It's so hard to control it. I just want to move to the, and I can, okay, finally I'm back here. And we know that like the lambda is 15 per hour. Whenever you wanted to calculate the waiting time or the average number, you need to go like with the hours, the unit with the hours. So, and we know the service rates is 1 every 3 minutes. So per hour, it will be 20. Because we need to spend 3 minutes to do this service, and we have 60 for an hour, then we just use 60 divided by 3, then we have 20. So 6 divided by 3, 20. So we know mu equals to 20. And when we wanted to calculate the utilization of the tainer, we just use 15 to 20, then we have 0.75, which means, okay, 75% means like this service like is under utilization. So this is how we calculate the utilization. And this is what types of the problem you may meet in the test. So the first one is ask the average number in line. So it equals to lambda square divided by mu times mu minus lambda. So the thing is like you need to figure out which formula you need to use, and then the rest of the thing for you is only to find what is the value for lambda at mu. And according to the formula here, then you will be able to get the ideas. Okay, in general, averagely, we have around 2 customers waiting in line. So this is the how to calculate the average number. And we also want to calculate like, okay, what is the average number in system? So if in the system, it means S, so we use this formula. We just use lambda, which is divided by mu minus lambda. So we have 15 to 20 minus 15, we have 3. So in general, we have 3 customers in the system for this service. And we also have average wait time. Average wait time, we use LQ. LQ is what the number of customers in line, and divided by mu. Then we have 0.15 hour, which is around 9 minutes. And the same for the average time in system, we just use the number of customer in system divided by lambda. Then we have 0.2 hour, which is 12 minutes. Okay, so this is the calculation problems you may meet for chapter 10. And this is all the contents like I will assess in the test too. Any questions?
So these will all be formulas that we can include on our formula sheet. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And then can our formula sheet include like a legend that tells us, you know, what
Yes.
symbol is that? Okay.
Yeah, you can. Okay, so here is the thing. So yes, you can involve some like the explanation
Okay.
in your formula sheet. Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And just like I mentioned, so you don't need to like write down all the formulas because we have 4 models. Like if you write down everything here, like only one formula sheet may be not like enough. So for the test 2, only model 1 will be in the test 2. Okay. Any other questions? That's a really good question. If no, we just move to the chapter 11. Chapter 11, chapter 12, they talks about the quality, so quality management, and not chapter 11, chapter 12 and chapter 13. So both of the 2 chapters talks about how to manage the quality, and chapter 12 here we focus on TCOM and the Six Sigma. So those 2 are the 2 important philosophy in our operations management to manage the quality. And the first thing you need to review for the chapter 12 is about this quality reward here. And I mark it as the red color, which means I have several, more than 3 questions related to this part. So for this awards, you can check, you need to check the slide 3, and this is the only topic except for the slide. If you want to get more information, please to review the related part for your textbook. So this is the first thing. And the second thing, please to review the table I gives you in the slide, on the slide 6. So this is actually tables to give you like most of the important, like the leaders, their ideas, their thoughts about the quality management. The TCOM, the Six Sigma, and other like the way we use to manage our quality actually comes for those rules. So take a look at that table, and I may have a question ask you, okay, so I give you a description and ask you who proposed this idea, or I may give you like 2 different ideas over there, and I ask you what is the differences between these 2 rules ideas. So this is the quality rules. Like please review the slide 6. This is really important. Probably each of you may meet 1 or 2 questions about this. And another thing you need to go over is the cost of quality. Why we need to manage our quality? Why almost all the company, the quality is a really important aspects when they develop their operation strategy. So we have different types of the cost of quality. Please review them and figure out the meaning of each of them. So I may have a multiple choices, ask you to choose. I give you an example and ask you to choose which cost of quality it is. So this is about the cost of quality. And also the dimensions, we have 7 dimensions to assess the quality. So take a look, like including the performance, features, durability, and others, the aesthetics. So we have a lot. We have a lot to talk about, okay, the dimensions we use to evaluate the quality. And then this is important about the Six Sigma. So for the slide 6 to 20, we talk about the Six Sigma. Six Sigma, TCOM, they are the two important philosophy in quality management. And for the Six Sigma, the first thing you need to review is this cycle. So I may give you some like the case, so or the example, and I give you a description, and I ask you which it is a D or it is a M or it is a A. So D means define, M means the measure. So at least you need to understand what it is, okay? And this is super important. So I have around 5 to 6 questions related to the tools. So we have fishbone, we have the other diagram, and all other tools. We have around 10 different tools under Six Sigma we use to evaluate the quality. So you need to check all of them. It doesn't like, I mean, you will not spend a lot of time on it. You just need to go over and you have that ideas. You don't need to memorize anything. You just need to have that idea about, okay, this is this tool. What is mean fishbone? This is fishbone. And this is the check gutter, the gutter chart we use. You just need to have that idea. You don't need to memorize, but you need to know what they are. And to figure out, if I give you a case, you need to tell me, okay, what's the tool? What is the tool? And probably I may have a following questions, like I give you a fishbone and I ask you, okay, so the fishbone is a D or is a M or is a A or I or C? Okay, so this is about the tools. And the last slide, it talks about the notes and the responsibility. This is also the last thing you need to review for the chapter 12, and it's on the slide 20. So you just need to take a look. I may have multiple choices to ask you what are the responsibilities, or choose the one doesn't like which isn't involved in the responsibilities. So some questions like that. This is all of the things you need to review about chapter 12. Any questions? You're good? You're good with the chapter 12? Very great. Then we move to the chapter 13. So chapter 13, we only have like the 2 true or false questions and 3 multiple choices, but we have 6 calculation problems for the chapter 13. So for the conceptual parts, you don't need to review too much this. So this is what I mean, like at the beginning of this video. So you don't need to review all the contents in the textbook. You just need to, according to the topic I list here, you just go over all of them, let's say. And for the chapter 13, so for the conceptual part, only these 2 things you need to go over. First thing, please figure out the different variation type. We have common variation, we have assignable variation, what they are, what the differences between them. And another conceptual thing you need to go over is the attributes and the variable control chart. So we have, for this course, we learned 3 different control charts, but we have 2 types. One is variable, another is the attribute. What the difference is? What does it mean? It's an attribute control chart, or if I ask you, P chart is an attribute chart or the variable chart, you need to have that ideas about it. Okay, so you need to have answer for this question. So this is another conceptual things you need to review, and the rest of the true or false and the multiple choices problems comes for this control chart. So I may ask you, what does mean the upper limits, the lower limits, whether we need to keep a certain line, something like that. Or I will give you types of the data sets, and I may ask you, okay, which kinds of control chart you can use to evaluate the quality for it, to do the statistical control analyzing. So I may have those questions. So this is all the conceptual parts. And for the calculation problems, we have 6 in total, 2p, 2x, 2r. So each of them, I have 2 calculation problems. And I will not give you like just like the examples or your homework. I give you like 25 data set over there. No, I will just like make sure like you have enough time to finish all the tests. So the calculation in this part will be easier than your homework. Okay. And I will help you to review all of these 3 control charts we have. So for the P chart, this is the attribute measurement. So what does mean attribute? Attribute means the data you connect is the number or the values you can count but not measured. And this is what we call the attribute. For example, the number of the defects, the number of the products within a green color or others. So this is what you count. So if the data, if the value you connect is what you count, then we need to use an attribute control chart. And the attribute control chart winner for this class is P chart. And we have another one, it's called the C chart. But you don't need to focus on this one. You just like focus on the P. So for the P, you need to first for any control chart, you need to find 3 lines: the center line, upper line, and lower line. For the center line is kind of the average for that value you use. So for the attribute here, you just calculate the average of the P, which is the average of the number of defects for all of the samples. And then you need to calculate the SP. So SP equal to square root P bar. Whenever we have like a symbol with a short line above it, it means the average. So we just use P bar times 1 minus P bar divided by N. And then we will have N here is the sample size, not the number of samples you have, okay? And then we just use like once you got this, then you will be able to calculate the upper limits and the lower control limits. So upper equals to the average of P plus Z times SP. SP we got from here, P we got from here. So the only thing you need to figure out is Z. And Z in general, it equals to 3. Sometimes we also use Z equal to 2. But in the test, if I doesn't mention anything, please use 3 to represent Z, okay? So what does mean 3, what does mean 2? It's just really similar to the A2, D3, D4 in the R charts and X bar charts. It talks about the confidence level. So how confident about your results, how many data you involved in your calculation. So this is kind of a confidence level. And Z equal to 3, it means if we have a center line over there, so this upper side is 3 sigma, and this lower side is 3 sigma too. And for these questions, we use 3. It means for both of this each side is 3 sigma. So we have around 6 sigma, like the confidence level is like above 99.74% of the data we involved in our calculation. And sometimes we use Z equal to 2. So it's like each side will be 2 sigma. But most of the situation, we use Z equal to 3. And if I didn't mention Z equal to 2, then when you apply the P chart, please use 3, okay? And this example is come from your textbook. And this is how we got the P. So the first thing you need to calculate the average of the P. So you need to find the total defects and divided by all of the number of the observations you have, then you have this P bar. And once you get P bar, you will be able to get the upper limits and the lower limits, these numbers, and you will be able to draw the line. So this is how we calculate that, the SP, and we got a number here according to the formula over there. Upper equals 2 P bar plus 3 SP, while lower limits equal to P bar minus 3 SP. So this is how we got P chart. Again, P chart is the attribute control chart, which the factor you consider about is what you count. Okay, so this is all of them are the integer. And another types of the control charts is what we call X bar chart and R chart. This is the variable control charts. So for these charts, the factor you care about is the things you measured, just like the weights, the length. So they might not be the integer. They might be something with the decimals, some numbers with the decimals. So they are the things you measured, not count. And if you consider about those value, those factor, please use a variable control chart, which is X bar and R chart. Okay. And for the X bar and R chart, the center line, always the average. So the average of the weights or the average of the length for all of the observations you have. And for the upper control limits for X bar chart, it equals to the average of for all of the samples plus A2 times R bar, while the lower control limit is equal to X bar minus A2 times R bar. R bar is R means range. So it means like for each sample, like we know that like for each sample, we may have like 4 or 3 or 5 observations. So the range is the differences in that sample. So I will explain this for you. So just for example, we have 25, like this slide only show 23, but for this example, we have 25 in total. So for a sample 5, for the sample 1, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 observations in total. So it means, okay, the number of the sample is 25. However, if I ask you sample size, what is sample size? Sample size is 5. Sample size means how many units you have in a sample, okay? So this is what we have. And now we just have those samples, and this is like how we calculate like the X bar and R. So why we need to figure out the sample size? Because just like Z for the P chart, we know they equal to 3. We don't need to calculate it. We just use 3. And for the X bar and A charts, we have A2, D3, and D4. Those stuff you don't need to calculate. You just find them for these tables here. Okay. So according to the N here is the sample size. So we just choose the different value for A2. For example, if the sample size is 4, A2 equal to 0.73, and D3 equals to 0, while D4 equals to 0.11. Now tells me what's the sample size of the example I just gave you. Any ideas? And the first one, insert your answer into the chat box. You will get 1 extra points added into your test too. So what is the sample size for the example I just gave you? This. Again, I need to go over here. So for this one, what is the sample size? Okay, so Stacy, you will get 1 extra point, like add into the test two. Let me write down your name and we move to the next question. Stacy Webster. Okay, so according to the sample size is 5. Now let me know what is the value for A2. The same, the first one insert into the chat box, you will get 1 extra point. Okay, Emily got the correct answers. It's 0.58. Then what is the value for D3? Okay, Cody, you got the extra point. And what is the D4? What is the D4? Okay, Emily and Hugo, you got the answers. No, Cody. Okay, Cody, you got the extra point again. So here is how we figure out the A2 and D3 and D4. Once you figure out it, then according to your calculation, you will be able to get the upper lower limits. So this is how we calculate the X bar chart and R chart. And if you take a look, so A2, another thing I want to introduce for you, this is not for the test, but this is how we why we use this table to decide A2, D3, D4. Why we use those numbers? Why? Because we have small D3, we have small D2. Why we don't use those numbers? So A2, D3, D4, this is also represents the confidence level. So for the confidence level, if we use these numbers as our calculation, we involve these numbers into our calculations, it means, again, this is a 3 sigma. Okay, so 3 sigma, then we apply big A2, D3, D4, and use those formulas to calculate the X bar charts and R charts. And another thing I'd like to introduce for you is about how we know according to the control chart, how do we know whether it is in statistical control or out of control? So we have several ideas. First one, if one single point is above the upper limits or below the lower limits, it means it's out of control. But even all of the data sets you put into the control chart, they within the limits. It doesn't mean it's in control, because sometimes if we have 7 out of 8 on the same side, it means it's out of control. Or we have 4 out of 5, it's on one side and very far away for the center line, it also means, okay, it's out of control. So except for one single point, without the limits, sometimes even all of the data sets within the limits, we also need to take a look at is there any issues in our process. So here is all of the things I'd like to introduce for the test. And this is all the contents you also need to review for the test. Any other things I didn't mention in this video, it means it will not in the test too. Okay, any questions by now? You good?
So I
okay.
have
Yes.
One thing that helps me when I study is going through and practicing. And so I was wondering if the homework problems that we did for chapter 10 and 12 and 13, I'm not able to open those up again in McGraw-Hill. Is that locked for a reason, or are we able to open those up?
It should, it should allow students to review it. I will check that later. Okay, thank you for asking this question. That's a good question. I will check the settings, and I will make sure you will be able to review your homework for all the chapters covered in the test too. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it was for whatever reason the math problems that were locked.
Yeah, I will open it. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, I should change the settings at the beginning of this semester. I allow all of the students to review them homework before that test. So I will double check it out about that. It should work. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks for asking. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Will you be sending this recording through email?
Yes. I have already recorded this one, and I will post it in Canvas under the module test too, and I will send all of the students an email to like give them this information, like we have a video to help them to review test too. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And you also will be able to find these slides in the Canvas nature still under the module test too. Any other questions? If no, then let's do some practice for the test too. So I gave you 4 examples here, and all of these 4 examples, I can tell you, they are exactly the questions in the testing bag. So you have the opportunity to meet exactly the same question in the test too. So let's take a look with the first one. A flow chart as part of Six Sigma quality improvement process may be found in which DMAIC category? A, define, B, measure, C, analyze, D, improve, E, control. Which one? And again, the first one gave me the answers, correct answer. No, this is not the correct answer. I'm sorry. No. Matthew, not C. Okay, Stacy, you got the answers. A, define, because we use a flow chart to take a look what kinds of problems we may have, what kinds of status for this process. So this is what we call the define. So we want to define. So this is in the define category. So this is for the question. For the question A1. And now let's take a look with the second question. Which of the following is not part of the service triangle? So if you still remember, I gave you a service triangle, you can go over the chapter 9 slides on slide 4. So A, employee supports. Okay, so let's see. Yes. So Emily, you got the correct answer. Service encounter. No, it's not in the service triangle. So we have employees, we have system, we have customer, we have employee system service strategy. They are the triangle of this. They are the 3 points of this triangle, and the customers in the corner, and no service encounter. Okay, so here it is. And now let's move to the next one. So correct answer is here, E. Question 3. Variation in production system that is caused by factors that can be clearly identified and possibly even managed is called assignable variation. A or B? And I have already got the correct answer here. This is how we define what is assignable variation. Yes, AJ, you got the extra point for this. Okay, so correct answer is A. And the last questions I provide for you is actually the calculation problem for the chapter 10. So all of the calculation problems, we have 3 for chapter 10. So all of them are really similar to this. So it asks you like customer arrivals and a single self-serve coffee machine in a busy mall, and the rates with 20 per hour. Following Poisson distribution, each customer takes exactly 90 seconds to get his or her coffee. What is the expected number of the customers in the waiting line? So once you meet the questions looks like that, the first thing you need to figure out what it asks. For this one, it asks you what is the number of customers in waiting line. Okay, so I gave you a few seconds and let's do it together. B, not the correct answer. No, I haven't got the correct answer right now. You just guess or you have already calculated. Okay, Hugo, you got the extra credit. The correct answer is 0.5. So what does mean the number of customers in Queen? It means the number of the customers in waiting line. So how can we calculate the number of customers in waiting line? We use this one. So it equals to the lambda squared divided by mu times mu minus lambda. So what is the value for lambda? Here, 20, right? But what is the value for mu? It's 90 seconds? Actually, no, it's not the. Yes, it's a 40. So how can we go 40? Because we know, okay, it's 90 seconds. And we need to know, okay, for an hour, how many coffee it can produce in this system. So we just use the 90 divided by 60. Then we will know, okay, how many minutes, not seconds, how many minutes we will get 1.5. So 90 seconds means 1.5 minutes the customer will get a coffee, and 1.5 minutes means 0.025 hours. So if 0.025 hours we can got a coffee, then for each an hour we have, we just use an hour divided by 0.025, then we got 40. It means per hour, this system can produce 40 coffee. And then 40 is the mu. So the rest of the thing, we just like insert 20 over there and 40 here. So we will have 0.5, which is number C. So this is how we calculate all the questions, okay? And for the chapter 10, like in the test 2, you may also meet like a question ask you the number of the number of waiting time or the waiting time like in the line, the average waiting time in the line or the average waiting time in the system. So you may be also like meet a question asking you the number of customers not in line in system, like the average service time. So this is all of the contents I'd like to introduce for you about the test 2. Any questions? If you don't have questions about test 2, do you have any questions about this class or any concern or the comments or any questions about the former chapter? You good?
Oh, sorry. I keep doing
Yeah.
that right as you're about to end. I'm sorry.
You're good.
So that chart that shows the A2, D3, D4, will that be on the, that will be included in the, when we open the test, or is that something we need to like bring with us on the formula sheet?
I have already involved it into the test too, but I still recommend you to like draw that table in your formula sheet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
In case any like the problems, you cannot open the table for the
Right.
tutorial. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Professor, did you say there was going to be a formula sheet? Sorry, I've missed the beginning of the video
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no. So the formula sheet, like this is not an open book test, but you can have a formula sheet. I don't have like very, very seriously size about how big for your formula sheets. It's like a A4 or B5 is fine. So for the formula sheet, all of the things like you can write down the formulas and also like the explanations for the notations, like explanations for all of the formulas.
Okay, so we can do that prior to taking the test. It just needs to be on a
Yeah.
scratch paper. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Except for the scratch paper, you can have a formula sheet. Like before you have that test, you can prepare both of these two things. Yeah.
Okay, so we can have it before we start the test. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks. So who gonna ask me when LCL is equal to 0? So we have several like situations. Like if you take a look with the table of A2, D3, D4. So when D3, because like it depends on the control chart. So it totally depends on the calculation result. For the R charts, you may you have a great opportunity to have a lower limits equal to 0, because we know like the D3, if the sample size like less or equal than 5, then the D3 equal to 0, then the lower limits for that R chart probably will be 0. Or when you calculate any control charts, when you get any negative number, please round it to 0. So we don't have any negative numbers in the control chart. So whenever you have negative number, that means 0. Okay. That's a really good questions. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. If you have any questions by now, you can like currently if you don't have any questions, that's fine. But anytime if you have any questions before the test, like just send me emails. Like I reply emails very, very quickly. So yeah. So anytime when you have questions, just let me know. Okay. And before we leave, I just want to make sure like I gave the correct extra points to the correct person. So Stacy, you got 2 points, right?
Yes,
Oh, Stacy. Okay.
thank you.
Emily, you got 2 as well, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Cody? Yeah, no problem. Cody, you got 2.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. AJ, you got 1. And Hugo got 1 as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So do I miss anyone? No? I'm such great to calculate the number of your extra points. Okay, so if I didn't miss anyone, then this is extra points will be added to your test too, okay? Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, I will wait for another 5 minutes and I will finish this. I will close this video, okay? And again, anytime, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach me out, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate this.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck with the test.
Hi.
Hey, oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, Stacy. I'll go after you.
I was just gonna say I got here a little bit late. Is there any way to scroll back to the slide of the first chapter that you were going over?
Oh, I guess like over there, I could just give you like an introduction about the first slides, but you can check this slides like later, like in the Canvas. So I will publish this slides in the Canvas under module test 2.
Oh, okay. So I'll just look for that.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, that was my question, Professor. So where did you say it's going to be under in Canvas? It was under what section?
Oh, I can show you. So just give me a second. So if you open your Canvas,
Okay.
and here is like, let me open. So if you open your Canvas, like open the module, and you will say like we have different module, like week 1, week 2, test 1, and this will be under test 2, and I will publish it later. Okay, so you will be able to find that.
Got it. Okay.
I will publish right now.
Perfect. And just to clarify one more time, so I can write down formulas and the explanation before taking
Yes.
the test and just bring it with me on my scratch paper, right? When I take the test.
Yes, the explanation only for the formula, not other concepts.
Right. Okay. Right. So just the explanation saying, okay, this is what
Yes.
this is.
Yes.
And okay, perfect. So I will start creating that right now before I take the test. So, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, the explanation only for the formula, not other concepts.
Right. Okay. Right. So just the explanation saying, okay, this is what this is.
Yes.
And okay, perfect. So I will start creating that right now before I take the test. So, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.